Welcome back, Ferocious Education. This is Ed. Today I'm going to be giving another update on SNDL Sundial Cannabis. Make sure to drop a like to this video to help this channel grow, subscribe, and leave notifications on, and if you'd like, you can also share it. I've covered this one before. You'll find my previous video in the description below. I'm going to go through due diligence update and then technical analysis, specifically as well into their earnings and what we can anticipate towards that earning. So let's jump right into this one. So Sundial Cannabis. For this one here, if you haven't watched any of my videos before, or you haven't checked what Sundial is, Sundial really is, in short, a Canadian company that sells weeds and weed byproducts, and some of their even recent acquisitions. Some of these companies also sells anywhere from edibles, extracts. They themselves directly sell weed buds, vapes, etc. And some of the brands goes on as Grasslands, Palmetto, Sundial, BC Weed, and Top Leaf. And you get to see they are different price points. Price point value pricing, core pricing, premium core pricing, and premium pricing. List goes on there. I'm not going to go into details. You'll have to watch my previous video, but just to sum it up, this is a really good graph about the market price segmentation based on their brand and where they actually stand. Now, they don't have a discount, but they have a value brand, which is the Grasslands. That's for dried flower. And for the vape, that would be the Palmetto. And some of the premiums, such as Top Leaf and BC Weed, that's premium and premium core respectively. So they have a good span onto the market. So some of the highlights from quarter 3, just to give you a perspective on the quarter 4 and what we can expect. A 47% increase in adjusted gross margin in quarter 2 2020, as we get to see here. And then branded sales shift to 77% versus 69% in quarter 2 2020. 12% decrease in dried bulk cost per grams. So what we can expect there is decrease of cost. So some of the things that we need to we're going to be expecting, let me go towards news, is perhaps decrease of costs, debt free. So the balance sheet should be looking a lot better when it comes towards their cash on hand from all the money that they did raise. Also some of their recent acquisitions, so the price over book is going to also be looking really interesting. So they had the recent offerings, different acquisitions. Oh, by the way, they also make compliance. So all these offerings can easily pay off and brush off all its debt, which I believe it already has done it. And so I think they're going to show us a balance sheet with a really strong cash. In terms of revenue, we still don't have an exact indication to what the revenues are, and we need to look a little bit on the history. Sundial announces completion of financial restructuring and debt-free status. So I can't wait to see their balance sheet. It's going to be something interesting to look at. But nonetheless, we can move on towards the previous quarters to try to see, well, perhaps what is next coming up. And by the way, the fourth quarter 2020 and the full year results will be announced on March 17th, 2021 after the market closes, and the webcast will be at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on March 18th, 2021. So when it comes in towards the annual breakdown for the income status, you get to see that the revenues, well, they have enjoyed a bit more nicer revenues in 2019 than in 2018. Their net income still was around negative 271 million, and it wasn't looking good. So let's take a quick look into the income status. We already know they have debt free, which means they have enough cash to, well, they had enough cash to cover all these stuff, all the debts, and they are actually going ahead and acquiring all these different other companies and stuff, and that shows a really strong balance sheet. In terms when it comes in towards total revenue, and when we're comparing in onto the net income in terms of the last quarters, you get to see that their incomes haven't been looking good. Negative 43 million, negative 60, negative 71. So quarter 4, we might actually still expect a loss. So I'm not saying we're going to be net profit, but at least the balance sheet itself will look good. Now, in terms of institutional ownership, and I'm talking, by the way, balance sheet, I'm talking about in terms not from the income side, but from the total assets, etc., cash, debt. In terms of institutional buyers, they seem to be a little bit mixed. Some of them are buying. The Blackstone actually went ahead with a massive short, around 236,000 shorts. And it looks like the sentiment is a bit more bearish than bullish, except for Jane Street Group, which bought less south of 1 million shares there. And things are looking a little bit interesting. It's a little bit mixed, I would say, probably 50% bullish, 50% bearish. Why not? In 2021. And so I myself still believe in this stock for one reason. They have an insane amount of capital, cash speaking, that they're able to acquire companies that can easily expand into the US, and they can even themselves expand into the US once that MORE Act that I've been talking about in the Senate has been really slow about actually passing that bill or getting it out of the Committee of Finance. And once that happens, we might actually see a little bit of a nice push. And now towards technical analysis. If you haven't done so, please make sure to subscribe and leave notifications on. And if you'd like to join our Discord and you have other questions for me, you can go ahead. You can find me there and just tag me and I'll be happy to answer you. So on a 1 week perspective, we get to see that the 10 SMA is actually still above the 30 SMA, and that's a good thing. The price point is above the 50 SMA at the 63 cents. The trading action zone where positive reversals are likely are between the 107 or the 106 and the 88 cents. Currently, it's above there, $1.16. Coming in now towards the ADX still not indicating the end of a trend, at least on the 1 week perspective. MACD is attempting a negative reversal sometime soon, although it is just really following the same trend on the MACD it has been, so that's not really alarming. And momentum is still positive. On a 1 day perspective, what we get to see here is that 10 SMA is still above the 30 SMA. That line is converging towards the negative side, so that's a little bit dangerous. What we get to see is 50 SMA still above 200 SMA, so that's somewhat still bullish. So the moving averages are bullish, getting dangerously close towards bearish. Above the $1.04, it is still bullish on the 50 SMA line. ADX shows a retraction from that 396, and we get to see that in fact that it's already occurred. And then the MACD shows in a possibility of a positive reversal sometime soon, followed by momentum that is curving upwards towards the positive side. Now towards the 2 hour perspective, what we get to see here is that the price point seems to be attempting to go towards a positive reversal on the MACD line, and so does the momentum. The ADX shows that there is a possibility of a trend here coming up. Above $1.29, that trend gets confirmed. Now on the moving average bands, it's actually sliding pretty heavily here. $1.73, $1.58 is $1.42 is the top, middle, and the bottom of the moving average band where it's expected to trade, but it hasn't traded within there since a while. So the bottom of the Bollinger Bands where it's expected to least hit is probably around 65 cents, and the top is 250. Stochastic fast and stochastic slow are both telling you, hey, be careful. It's more around the accumulation point, but this might be an interesting place to buy this stock. In terms of Fibonacci retracements, it does support that stochastic fast and stochastic slow because the support currently is $1.04. Current resistances are $1.60, $2.05, $2.50, $3.14, and $3.96. And if we were to go ahead with just normal price line actions here to try to find, well, where does that support lie? We see 114, that seems to be a very strong support. Followed by that would be the $1.03. And then below there, we're looking at 79 cents, 64, and then 50 cents. Current significant resistances are as follows: $1.42, $1.73, $1.94, $2.19, and then we need to go ahead and go with 1 month, 2 hour to see if there's any significant ones in there. I'll probably say 354, 311, 354, and then 409, and then 443. Comes to the question to Ed, what do you think is going to happen for this stock? It really depends on seeing that financials. I think that we're probably going to see a little bit of a run up towards the quarter, and then we might actually see institutional buyers afterwards, depending on the plan. There has been a lot that's changed in the last quarter, and a lot of that massive run from almost 14 cents all the way to $4. A big part of that is that speculations with their balance sheet, and so I'm very excited to see that. In terms of investments, it's a scary investment because the risks are high. But I still think that this company will probably see run-ups. What do you think about this ticker? Make sure to leave down in the comments below. Share, subscribe, and like. Have a wonderful day.